Some of the brief macro breakdown on what yesterday's food looks like is something in the ballpark of like 105 grams of protein, or 105 to 110 grams of protein, somewhere in there, and it's about 125 grams of fat, so pretty decent ratio. And ends up coming out to something like 1680 on calories or something like that, which is a pretty big deficit for a guy my size. But I was super full until last night, and then I had like 2 small pieces of mozzarella cheese with a little bit of butter. So I figure I'm somewhere in the ballpark of 1800 calories right now, or somewhere in there. And probably, I don't know, somewhere 100 and I don't know exactly what it comes out to, but I know I'm in a big deficit. I got to sit back down again. I didn't feel bad after yesterday at all. I didn't feel bad after the Coke Zero or the cheese or any of that stuff. Actually, I felt pretty good up until about 10 o'clock last night, and then I had just a little bit of cheese and called it good, and then I left it alone. So it did show that my ketones was at 0.3 and my blood sugar was at 0.9, which are 90, which I'm okay with, but at the same time I'm not super concerned with it either, because I'm not a person that likes to chase a bunch of ketones. So yeah, so that's it. Yeah, about 1680 or something like that is what I came out to. And then after I add in the 2 little small pieces of cheese I had last night, probably wouldn't no more than 1800 calories or something like that. So I was probably somewhere around like 140 grams of fat and somewhere like about 115 grams of protein, something like that, which is perfectly fine for me. That's actually under what I normally eat. So I'm interested in running this experiment out and seeing exactly what happens, tracking my glucose and my ketones. And some people have left comments and stuff about how they're concerned with this and that. I'm not worried about all that. I'm really not. This is an experiment that I set out to do, and at this point, what people say to me is not going to change my mind on doing it. I'm going to do it anyway. So I mean, people should save their effort or their trouble of trying to educate me. I've got a mother. I don't need a couple more mothers, if you know what I mean. I know what I'm doing. I'm a pretty smart guy when it comes to people that I educated before and that I taught coming up into keto and carnivore are now the ones that are giving me recommendations. So I think it's kind of ironic how everybody all of a sudden becomes a professional and they want to tell you what you're doing, and which kind of is a pat on my back at the same time, because it kind of means I've done something right, coaching and teaching people. But I need to find out a lot of this stuff for myself. I'm tired of listening to what everybody else has to say. The doctors of our world in the ketogenic field, and I just want to try stuff out for myself. I'm tired of listening to other people say, oh, you could do this and you can't do that, and this study says this and that study says that. Well, so far there have been a lot of studies that I throw under the rug that don't even hold any kind of water that pertain to anything in my life. So we're going to run it out and we're going to see what happens and see what it looks like at the end. So y'all stay tuned.